It's that LUKE, Luke Monet here with the host with the most, Mr. Aston Crude. Say g'day.
It's California Fury, but hello.
Whatever, doesn't matter to me. And we've got Mr. 55 himself. Am I saying your name or is that it?
Hey Luke, can you name me the first 6 members of the NWO Wolfpack since you've got the flag behind it?
Oh, we've discussed this earlier. We don't have to go into it tonight. And
Six members.
below me, I don't know exactly where we're spaced. I don't know if we've got single cam or multi-cam on at the moment. Doesn't matter. We've got Juicy Boy Billy Cheddycock. Cheddycock. Yeah.
Billy Cheddycock! What's up, guys?
What's up, you fucking cunt?
Fuck up.
Straight away with the C-bomb.
I got told that we weren't allowed to swear in Zoom anymore. Once again, another lie.
That is a lie. And since
Immediately, like it literally, the lying begins immediately.
I've
Post
seen the look in his face. He panicked for a second because he said the word faggot. So,
oh, wow. And since we're all cracking a cold one, I'll crack a cruiser.
oh mate,
I'll crack a bug.
Here's to you.
yeah, here's to you, boys. Yep, cheers.
Yep. Yeah, no worries. Cheers. Yep.
How are you, Juice?
Good. Very good. Very good. Very good. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. How's it feel to be up 2-1 against MonetMaaate in the retrograde?
Oh, man. I mean, I got to tell you, like, as unsurprising, it's not surprising, but it feels fucking phenomenal, bro. I mean, it feels wow.
I mean, look, if you look actually through the episodes, you can see that there's a clear difference between you winning and me losing. So we won't...
I don't understand what the fuck that means.
Well, I mean, you winning means that you beat me. Me losing means that I lost. Doesn't mean that you beat me.
Yes, it does.
It does.
No.
Actually.
Not in my.
It does. Yeah, there's only 2
2-1.
possible results: win or lose, or draw.
I mean,
3.
I mean, okay.
Listen, you lose. You fucking lost. 2-1.
We can.
Yeah.
You can check out the episodes. We're going to leave a link in the description, I guess. I guess we're going to do that now. So you can find out for yourself.
Yay, more editing for me.
Yep, there you go.
You click in the corner here. You can
I'll have every minute of
straight
it.
to it.
Which corner am I in?
No, not that one, you
Put the
fucking
link
idiot.
here.
Where are we going to put it in? We can put it in the middle. Put it in the middle. Everyone point to the middle.
This is like the Brady Bunch when I'm watching the gallery view. I'm looking down at that Juice there, and
Yeah.
oh,
That's-
there's
Wait, is there a different...
Oh,
Can you
hey,
view it
Jack,
in
how are
different
you, mate?
ways?
You're such a dickhead over there, eh?
Brady Bunch.
Dickhead over there.
There's no. You're pointing
Oh.
to.
There's someone up there. Fuck you.
Okay,
well,
so let's stop clowning around. Get on with the show. Fucking hell.
Well, chat me up, Luke. What are we here to talk about today?
It's been an interesting 24 hours, that's for sure. I mean, we've got a brand new trailer for the AEW video game, and
Boo.
well, we're going to discuss that. That's for sure. Not the best reception so far for what we've seen, and I can't really blame people, to be honest. I mean, AEW has been hyped. Their video game has been hyped for a very long time, and it did not really live up to expectations. What do you guys think?
Well, when you
Well,
fucking...
Well,
Sorry, Jack.
All right, yep.
already talking over each other.
I'm gonna choose
pick a guy, bro.
Gator. I'm gonna start with DJ.
All right.
Get over
yeah,
it.
well, I mean, I only watched a little bit of the video because I've been fucking around still, trying to set up Zoom and shit. But my first takeaway from the whole presentation was Chris Jericho is not that jacked in real life. Chris Jericho has not been as jacked as he looks in that video game commercial since 2003. If you put that model of Chris Jericho into Day of Reckoning, maybe, but not now. And, I suppose I'll do the annoying thing and follow up with another question on it because I haven't seen the entire thing. I haven't been following a lot of the video game side of AEW. So what exactly is the general consensus from people?
Well, it's not good. It's not good. For instance, you take a post that Cody put up, basically hyping exactly what was announced at the press conference, and we'll go through everything that was announced. Overall, if you were to put it in percentage, I would say about 75% of the comments were saying good. They were discussing the models. They were discussing the direction it was taking. They just weren't happy about it at all. It was kind of overrun by negativity. There was a lot of, obviously, people standing up for AEW, as you would
The
expect.
shills that will, no matter what they do, it's golden, mate. It's fucking golden.
Yeah, and if you don't agree with them, then you're a cornet parrot, you know.
Well, look, we're not going to get into that side of things. This is not.
Yes, we are.
We
yes,
are.
we
We're
are.
getting
We're
into
here.
We're going to get into everything.
This side.
I'm in the cult of Cornet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, look, we're not going to. That's a different story. Look, it was predominantly negative. I'm going to now take it to Mr. 55 to see what your impressions are of that trailer.
Well, I think that when you sort of spend so much time comparing, you know, when you make an announcement like so early into the sort of the company's announcement, and you start comparing it, saying, "Oh, we're going to make a video game like No Mercy. We're going to make like Here Comes the Pain, all these great games that all all the shit the fans just want to hear." All we're going to have is the same expectations of those games. And when you sort of see what they have now, I can sort of see where they're coming from with the bulky bodies. I can see that's kind of been taken from No Mercy, and they're trying to go for a cleaner look, and arcade style too. But I think, and I've said this a million times to people, and I also said this in a video that I've now deleted. People want that simulation style without, you know, without the bullshit. We want the simulation style. We want with the arcade, the fun shit. And Here Comes the Pain, you know, it was almost so close to being a sim because it was no fictional characters, fictional arenas, nothing. Everything was as you see on TV.
Yeah.
But the gameplay itself was fucking, you know, it wasn't too real to the point where it's slow and boring as the 2K games became. So I can
The
see
arcade. Oh, I'm sorry.
I can see why they're trying to, you know, win or bring people in by saying they're going to do like an arcade style game, and compare it to those titles. But then when you sort of think about how dated those games are as well.
Sorry, it's just DJ interrupting. It's just so difficult.
Fuck you, DJ.
It's I just coming.
Oh,
Oh man.
Just
Oh,
chomping
dear.
at the bit.
no, I was just going to add to what Jack said there. That's a good point that he made about the style of gameplay, because those classic games that we all know and love, and like you guys, did they actually say the words that they're going to make a game in the vein of those games? They actually said that?
Yes,
Yeah.
in fact, they went so far as to say that they got the No Mercy. They got Gato. Is it Gato or Gito?
No,
I don't-
I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
It
the
was
guy
a
from
Gato
fucking...
Japan.
The guy
The
that-
guy from SmackDown, the guy that did the original SmackDown games.
No, the guy that did No Mercy.
Yeah.
They specifically said that they were looking to bring back like games like No Mercy. But the thing is, I think there was something. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there was something lost in translation when we said that we would like something like No Mercy back. I think that was more we would like it redone, like that exact game redone. What's it called?
Remade. A
Yeah.
remake of it.
Like a reskin, like a completely.
Yeah.
When you
Like
take
an update, like a...
a game from PS2, put it to PS4.
You're talking about
Yeah, a
remaster.
remake.
Oh.
A remaster, yeah, that's the word, remaster.
You.
Fucking
Fucking...
idiots.
Be keen for a remaster of No Mercy, a remaster of Here Comes the Pain. I don't think necessarily I would like to see a game like No Mercy be made in 2020.
Mm.
I think you
I'd like to see a version of No Mercy, what it would have been like if like THQ and all those companies that made those games, like for years and years and years, what it would have been if that style of video game kept going through the years, not just a rehash of what happened fucking when I was a fucking 15-year-old.
yeah.
So an evolved version of what started.
Yeah,
those
because it
games,
got
kind
cut
of.
off because they went elsewhere, went in a different
Yeah.
direction with a different.
They went into the more like realism-based simulation side of it. But I think, like, basically to sum up what we're all saying already, we all really like the fast flowing style of like Here Comes the Pain and No Mercy and shit. That's what people want. They want that flow and they want that arcadey kind of feel to it, but they want everything else around it to be, you know, a good approximation of the product on TV.
Yeah, and to be honest, I feel like if they had actually decided, instead of going down the route of taking ideas from No Mercy, I think they probably would have been better suited taking ideas from Here Comes the Pain, to be honest.
Mm.
In terms of not only just like the design aspect of it, obviously No Mercy was a fucking fantastic game. But if you're looking at the design aspect of Here Comes the Pain with the models, everything like that, and then you look at the actual style of gameplay, the moves, the motions, everything like that, that more closely resembles that you would see in AEW.
Yeah, I agree fully. And it goes back to Jack's point. When Jack said that...
Just you and your little tent there.
No, but Jack's exactly was right at the beginning as well, though, because, yeah, it's all well and good to kind of capitalize on that built-in fan base that No Mercy has, but then you immediately invite those direct comparisons straight away. And anything that's not what No Mercy was, which how could this be? It's a totally different company and product. It's not going to measure up based on that standard they set.
Exactly. Now, I've asked everyone what they thought. I've got to go to Carl. I've got to go to you, Carl. You are not a fan of AEW by that's the nicest way I can put it. But you're going to look at the trailer from the perspective of someone that is neutral.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion?
Well, immediately I thought, as I said before, I thought Jericho and Omega looked like two big fat babies. Both chubby, obviously ripped as well. Jericho, obviously the muffin top's missing in this game. So we're taking a bit of realism out of it already.
I didn't know vodka could give you such a big beer gut, to be honest.
Well, I thought vodka was supposed to be the one that didn't give you
Yeah, I guess we were wrong. Like, all right.
So, like, already it just looks to me like it might be a low quality gameplay. It's reminded me of watching like a trailer for like one of the TNA video games.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong, but like it just looked like if they rush this, it's going to be shit. They can't rush it. They need to like spend, a good amount of time developing the game and not like just try and get it done in 6 months.
Well, look, I think the good part about that at least is, and we'll touch into this a little bit later. All the guys on the games team, they're actually devoted. They actually are wrestlers that are doing this game. So hopefully, obviously, there's an aspect where they didn't really tap into the market properly. I don't feel like they did here. Didn't do enough market research, whatever it may be. They may not have done this properly yet. But hopefully, their love of games will mean that they will extend the time of it making and just focus on getting it right. Hopefully.
Because that's my biggest complaint about the WWE 2K series. I know you guys like it, but I don't think, and I've said it a million times, I don't think that doing one game a year is necessarily going to give you anything different the next time it comes around. It's just going to be pretty much cut and paste with maybe a different story mode or whatever, and maybe some different legends in the game or whatever. I just feel like giving it a year isn't long enough to create an awesome game. Like I remember games would come out back in the day, like it would be a couple of years before the next one would come out.
Yeah.
And you'd really sink your teeth into the game. And by the time the next one came out, you're fucking sick of the old one. You're ready for the new one. Whereas, by the time I think I had WWE 2K13. By the time, like, I'd not even got halfway through whatever there was to do in the game, the next game's about ready to come out because I'm not playing it 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's where I think WWE's gone wrong because it's just the same fucking shit every year. And they're not fucking making anything, evolve and advance. And, story, I think by now, story mode, career mode, whatever, there should be 5 years worth of different storylines that you can do. So you can just keep going and going and going and not just do the same story mode that only lasts a year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think by now in 2020, we can have a wrestling game that gives you like an actual career that you got to fucking start small and not get the WWE championship within 1 year because it's unrealistic unless you're Sheamus.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
funny It's funny that you
sorry.
mentioned that. It's funny that you mentioned that sort of the WWE 2K series needs a break. Needed a break because the last good game that came out was 2K19 in 2018. 2K20 was unplayable. They didn't release a game this year, so they've technically had 2 years of a break now, if not more. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping 2K21 will be or 2K22 will be everything that we want in a fucking wrestling game.
I just think it's so fucking arrogant of the WWE to have a 2K. Like NBA, like NHL. They think they're like these other fucking sporting leagues. You're not.
But 2K
Yeah.
is
No,
shit.
stop trying to brand yourself and be like that.
No,
like when they, remember they, I'm changing the subject here. Remember they had Tough Enough, the one with Stone Cold as the host? That was fucking amazing. And then
Yeah.
what did they do? They wanted to copy fucking American Idol. We're having a panel of judges, which was so fucking pointless, and a fucking little crowd in there as they were fucking eliminating people or whatever. If they're just trying so hard to be like these other popular things, and they always miss the mark. They should just try and do what they always did and make it their own. Now, like that Tough Enough was total like Hell's Kitchen. It was totally like Hell's Kitchen with the way that Stone Cold would stand there and berate them at the end.
Hey, you think you're tough enough to do this, Mr. MMA?
Yeah.
But no.
Well, anyway,
that's a
back
good
to all
point
this.
that you brought up with, because that's the other thing. First of all, I think that as far as the 2K, the trap that fell into, they were so desperate to be like other sporting codes that they ended up just letting their game be homogenized. Like the theme of the game is no
Homogenized.
longer the WWE. Like the theme of
Homogenized. How long were you waiting to drop that into a conversation?
I don't fucking know. So, the theme of the game is no longer the WWE. It's just a sporting game that is WWE, a WWE simulation. It's boring. But going back to the TNA game that someone brought up earlier, that was a good point, because the TNA game is actually well liked as far as its gameplay. Because I remember when that game was coming out, they were like, oh, we've got AJ and Samoa Joe and all these people helping with the motion capture and stuff. And yeah, the motion capture itself was pretty phenomenal, but there was everything about the story mode, the invented story mode, the fucking fictional venues and shit was just so fucking off base. It would be fine to include that as DLC, but not as a fucking...
I wouldn't include that as DLC. That's story mode, and I hope we don't play it on the network at this point. We will play the game, but we will not play that story mode, because that is the most long-winded, pointless story mode. And to be honest, I feel like they used the story mode in the game to create the character suicide. Obviously, they did. They lined them up so it was like the debut of the game and stuff like that. But that is the worst way you can debut someone, with the worst story mode in a video game, and then he pops up on TV, and you're like, I fucking hate this dude by this point. I don't want this dude ever again.
All right, he's up champion. It wasn't that bad.
The
The
gameplay is amazing. I loved the game TNA Impact for the exhibition.
you like not being able to pin people when you want to?
You can pin people whenever you want.
No, you can't. You can only pin people after a finisher.
No, you can pin people whenever you want, Jack.
Let's get back on track. Fucking hell.
I think this podcast is more turned into a state of wrestling video games.
Absolutely.
I think
It's been shit for years as far as I'm concerned, and that's coming from a very stupid point of view because I never played any of them. But
like, dude, they've been exactly the same since about 2014. Like, I can hardly distinguish them other than some minor roster changes, which you didn't need a full new release to add those roster changes. The problem is they've got these yearly fucking deadlines. Guess what? If you stick a year deadline in front of a game developer, all they're going to do is strip out everything that was from the previous year's edition and then update that. And it's
copy and paste.
Yeah.
Yep. Roger that.
Yeah. Well, look, I've got to disagree with you on one thing, DJ. 2K19 was a step in the right direction.
All right.
I didn't play it, so...
I want to chime in.
Yeah.
2K19 was the greatest game on PS4 gen, so last gen now.
Current gen.
The PS5 just came out, Luke.
Yes, that's next gen. That's next.
Get with the fucking times, mate.
Oh, come on.
Does it come out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Does it really?
Oh, wait a second.
By by the time this episode drops, it'll be out. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, fuck you. What were you saying?
This guy.
What were you saying, Jack? You said 2019 was 22K.
The greatest game of the current gen.
Yeah, right. So what's the
Probably
greatest
the
game
last
of the
gen
current
come
gen?
tomorrow.
Right. You look at 2K15. You couldn't even do fuck. What couldn't you do in that game? There was like a tag team.
Get this ready. Get this right. 2K15, you could not create a female wrestler.
Well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
You
fuck.
wouldn't, you wouldn't want to anyway. So.
I've actually got 2K15 in my PlayStation right now, and the creator wrestler thing on that game has been fucking gutted.
Yeah,
You got about 5 or 6 options on each fucking category
Yeah.
to customize your character, and that's fucking it.
Yeah.
And then you can customize the character, and that's it. Who the fuck ever bought a wrestling game and didn't have the intention of going ham with the creator wrestler thing?
Yeah.
It's like one of the highlights of the fucking game.
As part of the bloody game. It's a
DJ, what are you doing playing WWE 2K15 in 2020?
It's just the only wrestling game I've got, and I felt like fucking...
Dude, I'm sure you could pick up 2K20 pretty cheap at this point. And the
Don't
update.
get 2K20, get
No,
2K19, man.
Even I've got 2K20 and I've never played it.
Look, 2K20 now is a bit more playable than it was at the start. And we're not going to get into the shit show that was, because that could go on for another hour. I'm not going to do that.
That's a whole nother
Can I just make a point? I thought it was quite exciting to see that in the AEW game, you can have an intergender wrestling match. So it'll be fun to do Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose.
I'm not gonna,
Ooh, ring the bell.
I'm not gonna get involved in that one. Look,
Leave Harris.
to be honest, the gender feature in AEW is very promising. I am excited. That's a good feature to have back into.
Yeah, get to beat the shit out of a woman. Great.
Yeah, it is good to have it in there just so that you can have whatever options you want, but I don't really like intergender matches in real life, so I don't really like, the fact that they're putting it in.
They can be good when done right. Jeff Jarrett versus China was good.
China, yeah.
That was a good example.
China
of a good
works.
Yeah, and China was in 2K20 and it was unusable.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, nice Hall of Fame induction, WWE. Like, you couldn't have given her a fucking, something a bit better than 2K20.
They put all their chips into one basket when they chucked on the 2K20 cover Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch. It could not have been more balls to the wall. It was like, those are the two people. There you go. And that's the game that...
And Becky Lynch...
Becky Lynch.
Like, Becky Lynch got old about 8 weeks after she became, the top female. Like, it literally was, a month later, and I was already like, fuck, stop giving her so much TV.
Everyone thought she was the female Stone Cold because she got a blood nose on television.
Yeah, because she got a blood nose on television from another fucking dangerous, unsafe bitch. You want
to compare the blood nose to Stone Cold in the submission match with Bret Hart with the fucking crimson mask. A blood nose. That's what we're at right now.
We're not. We're straying too far. We're talking about.
I know.
Oh goddamn! I can't breathe.
Look, there's a really exciting game coming out, and that's the Wrestling Code by Virtual Basement, and they've got an interesting roster. They've got a lot of. It looks like it's going to be a sim game. It looks like it's going to be a more simulation-based wrestling game.
Chat us up, Luke. Who's on the roster?
Let me get it for you.
What does a sim game mean?
It's a simulation, so more realistic, real-to-life action.
Wrestling
Not
Revolution
like
3D is like a full simulation game. Like, you can control every aspect of it.
Right.
I love Wrestling Revolution 3D.
I want to know more about these updates that apparently are happening to it. I can't wait.
They're not updates. This is a new video game coming out. They're doing a new wrestling, whatever.
So we're gonna have to make.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be. What'd you say?
Oh yeah, that kind of trailed off. I didn't.
Yeah,
hear
no worries.
Just cut out.
We're gonna have to make a whole new roster for that game.
Yep, sick.
A couple of new characters then coming in.
Well, look, here's
Jumbo.
There is a big list. Yeah, Jumbo will be there. There's a big list of people that are on the roster. A lot of them are going to be some indie guys from America. Unfortunately, we won't know some of them because we are in Australia, whatever.
It's
but
not
some
really
of the names you've got like Alex
unfortunate.
Riley.
Did you say Alex Riley?
Alex Riley. Yeah, now I've got your attention, DJ. Riley. The Ascension is on here. You've got Brian Cage, Brian Pillman Jr., you've got Cheeseburger, Crime Time, Elijah Burke, EC3, Eli Drake, Enzo, Cass. Was Cass on there? Maybe not Cass. Gangrel is on there. That's good. You've got Ken Shamrock. You've got some of the Annoys, Matt Morgan, Matt Seidel, Sick Nick Mondo's on the roster, Petey Williams, Raven, RVD, Ziggy Dice. You've got there's a good list. There is a pretty solid list there. What was the females? There was actually a couple of good women's wrestlers on there. But I can't be bothered trying to find.
So basically everyone not under a WWE Legends deal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'd say so. But it's a good roster, and they're looking like they're doing a proper simulated wrestling game, and it's looking very promising. So that's a good one to look forward to. And obviously,
Is it going to be like a fictitious wrestling company or something? Or
it's just going to be in different arenas. I don't think there's going to be a set. Oh well, actually, there has been talk. He's been looking at doing all different kinds of shows. I think he's trying to get a lot of indie influence on it. I don't know too much of the details because he hasn't released too much about the actual federations or anything. But they're
cool. Can't wait to not play that game.
Well, we'll play that, I'd say. You've got the new M. Dickey one coming out. Obviously, we love that, and they've been doing a lot of good improvements on that. It's looking like there's gonna be free roam and all this kind of whack shit.
Like so walk around the arena.
Walk around the streets and shit.
What? Oh shit!
Free, like an actual sandbox kind of fucking open.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. It's a completely different career mode by the looks of things.
It's gonna be fun.
Still the same game at the core, though, just way better.
Yeah.
Still the same wrestling game, but a more expanded career, which is just going to do wonders for us. We're going to play that shit constantly. That will be our main game on the. We will main wrestling, whatever the fucking M. Dickey game is.
Yeah, I agree.
The day it comes out, we need to do a stream.
Yeah, we have to be on.
Try and get the first one out there.
Well, it depends on. I think we are ahead, aren't we?
We don't talk about that publicly.
What the fuck is wrong with you, cunt?
We're talking about the time. Are we not our time zone?
Oh, well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything, cat?
If it releases on one day and they're in America, do we not get it first?
Well, no, because it's just going to be...
It releases on the 14th. Well, we're in the 14th before you, motherfucker, so...
when does it release anyway? Is there a release date for this game?
Release date yet. No release date yet.
Fucking hell, that Dickie.
It's going to be on the Switch and the PC, nothing else. Well, I'm assuming PC. There's no confirmation on PC.
Didn't you get the game working on your console?
Pardon?
Didn't you get the game working on your console?
Did I? I don't think I did. No, I got it on my TV. I got a smart TV that did Steam. Not important. We're going back to the idea of wrestling games. There's another wrestling game coming out. The one with Stevie Richards. Action Arcade Wrestling or something like that? Action Arcade Wrestling.
Yeah, something like that. Action Arcade Wrestling.
No, that was Chikara.
No, that's Chikara.
Yeah. That's another one coming out. It's got... that's actually got a really good roster as well, actually.
Isn't Chikara out of business now?
They certainly are, Carl.
Absolutely.
A number of the... basically, once the sexual misconduct allegations came against Chikara, maybe 2/3 of their most popular guys were like, well, I'm not going to work there anymore because I don't want none of that shit. So Mike Quackenbush just shut it down. Yeah.
He obviously copped a bit as well, but
Mike Quackenbush.
At one point, I was a big fan of Chikara, but then, when I was in high school and stuff, but then it's just... The stupidity just continued to grow exponentially.
Like Quackenbush just like to start cracking bush.
Here's so the new game coming out as well. Or it may already be out. I'm not entirely sure. It's meant to be out now. Retromania.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Richard's game. And it's
I
got,
have. Pardon?
got House of Hardcore in it. It's got NWA Power. It's got fucking Tommy Dreamer and all the boys.
I'm not entirely sure if it has been released or not. I thought it was still out. I don't think.
I'm pretty sure you can actually beta test it. I'm not sure.
So it's to be announced. Originally, it was set for July, but obviously some shit has happened, so I'm not surprised.
Cool.
So there's okay. Here we go. So the arenas list. You got Wrestling College, Gym, House of Hardcore Japan, NWA 70, and NWA Power, Pro Wrestling Tees Warehouse, Retromania Wrestling, Stevie Richards Fitness, so good.
So sick.
The Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Arena, or the Stop Short. The Ballroom, War Horses Hell. You got a bunch of different matches. Not well. It's obviously a smaller game. There's not a huge roster.
I hate Warhorse.
Warhorse.
Skinny, fat dickhead.
Fucking gay cunt.
So here's the roster. You've got Animal, Austin Idol, Big Stevie Cool, Blue Meanie, Brian Myers, Chris Bay, Cole Cabana, Hawk, Hollywood Nova, Jeff Cobb, Johnny Retro, which I believe is John Morrison during his indie stuff, Matt Cardona, obviously Zach, Nick Aldis, Nikita Koloff, okay, Tommy Dreamer, Warhorse, and Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, Warhorse.
Zack Sabre Jr. Sick.
So look, there's a lot of games coming out, which is the exciting part about this year at least, is that there's a lot of wrestling games coming out. You've also got Ultra Violence, which is going to
Oh, yes. I'm a big fan of that.
a deathmatch wrestling game. That will be interesting.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, I can't wait to do a series with that. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
I haven't been checking in too much with it, to be honest with you, but I really should. It's just too much going on in that Discord. I can't keep track of it all. Sometimes it gets too overwhelming at times. So there's a few games going on at the moment, so that gives us a promising look into the future at least. Hopefully we can get out of this funk of wrestling games, and because I mean 2K19 was the last kind of like silver lining that we've had in a while. It kind of stepped out of the idea of simulation whilst also not going overboard like 2K20 did. I don't want any of these WWE originals bullshit in my game. I don't want no cyber fucking futuristic fight or the hell one. I don't care. I don't want zombies or devils or any of that shit. I just want a game.
See, all that shit you were just talking about there, bro, all that shit is fine to put into the game if you've already created a decent wrestling game beforehand. You know? Like, I'd enjoy all these different weird arenas and shit like that if the actual base wrestling game was good. You know? I'd enjoy it as extra dressing on it, but I don't like the fact that they're relying on all this shit to kind of trick people into thinking that it's a good game.
That's a solid point. I mean, I don't know if I personally would use any of that other shit. I'm more of a simulated guy. I like my shit to be almost realistic. That's my kind of thing. But I can definitely see where you're coming from when you say that it would be better if the game was polished first, obviously.
Yeah. The gameplay is the number one thing. Can you pick up the controller, like the four of us, because we pick up a controller and all play for a few hours? And would it keep our attention? Would we keep going, let's try this. Let's do this match. Let's try doing this.
Yeah.
If it can keep our attention in that way, it's a good wrestling game. That's kind of how I like to judge it.
I think a lot of people get distracted by the fact, and I also think this goes for when it comes to game development. I don't think if you were to take a survey of the general public when it comes to video games, I don't think that graphics are the key when it comes to wanting to play. I want to play a game that fucking works. I want to play a game that I can continue playing. If I have to suffer a little bit of quality in terms of the design, the graphics, whatever, I will happily take a fucking chip out of that for sure. I just want a playable game. I don't know about you guys, but that's mine.
No, I would agree with that assessment. I think in the 90s, like the mid-90s, you know, like graphics were everything, right? How many bits does this console have? You know, I think video games have been around for a good 35, 40 years now, and I think people are kind of savvy to them nowadays, and I think a lot of people care more about how it feels when they play it than how it looks, you know?
It's changed a lot, for sure.
Whereas it used to be the opposite maybe 20 years ago.
I think people have now said, okay, you know what, we've got movies that do this shit. We've got everything that does this shit. Obviously, our games are great to do this shit, but it's stunning. They're relying on graphics. Carl, what do you think about it? I mean, you play video games just as much as anyone, actually, to be honest.
Like, you know, I mean, I went through a little phase there. I bought all the old games on the PlayStation 1 and was like trying to play, you know, all these games for the first time, and the graphics never bothered me. It was just whether it was fun or not. Like, I'll tell you, ECW Hardcore Revolution was so much fun to play, even though it was just like WWF Attitude. But Anarchy Rules, which came out the same year, later on in the year, I played that, and the gameplay was fucking horrible, and I couldn't fucking get a win to save my life. So
that's a claim for you, a claim entity. They also did Legends of Wrestling.
Yeah, and that was shit too, wasn't it, Luke?
The only good
game, Luke.
like Showdown Legends of Wrestling, I still think that's a decent game. It had a great roster. It fucking looked good.
You changed my mind on that game for sure. I did enjoy myself a bit on that one. So,
but that's the only one.
Yeah,
and even that is just barely a pass.
Well, I believe was WWF Attitude Acclaim as well.
Yeah.
Now that one sold the best, but I couldn't fucking stand that game.
Because Acclaim couldn't fucking develop wrestling games. They tried a WCW one at one point as well, and that fucking tanked too.
Which WCW game?
I think that fucking
they were going to try and make WCW on the PS2, I'm pretty sure.
That became Def Jam New York though, but that actually
Def Jam was a great game.
Yeah, so I don't think that was Acclaim. I think they were out of business already, like.
Yeah, and it's interesting now that Ukes is back into business with AEW when you take into consideration that 2K20 was such a mess because they fired Ukes.
Well, it's easy to sit there and like say that, without Ukes to be there, like that's why it sucked. But Ukes was only like one of the developers that they work with. Like,
I can actually tell you that you're wrong, DJ. So basically, Ukes, when they left, took all of their assets.
They took all the shit with them. Yeah.
They took all their assets, their engine, everything. They took them all. They took every bit of the coding and everything that they put into it.
Fucking idiots.
They stripped that away.
Which that's dirty practice as well, by the way, because that's just like...
Not really, because they were asking for more money because of the fact that they couldn't pump out this game in a year like they were being told to.
Exactly.
So they asked for more money. They said no. Ukes left with their shit.
Yeah, I suppose.
And then 2K said, I'm sure we can copy, literally they copied assets from 2K19 all the way back to, I think the oldest was 2K16 to make up 2K20. And that's why it didn't fucking work. You know, in terms of this AEW game, M. Dickey said it perfectly as well when he said, if you're going to do this arcadey kind of look, you've got to go either fully into it or you don't go into it at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's because clashing design principles like that never work on fucking anything. Like, you know, you've either got to be all in or all out. Yeah. And I think back to your point as well, where you said it's hard to figure out where they went wrong. I don't think it actually has anything to do with technology or anything like that. I think it's just got to do with, like, as the series has gone on, their priorities evolved. At the beginning, the most important thing was probably that you could pick it up and play it because, you know, it was a new franchise. And then I think over time, they know that people are going to come back to the series. So they start focusing less and less on those fundamentals and more on all the other shit that fucking they shove down your throat.
Well, I can't wait. I mean, Jack, you know about this as well. They've been doing, after the 2K20 fiasco, they've hired a new bloke in to come in and just overhaul the entire fucking thing. So the market research was extensive. The surveys were like huge surveys. It was, what do you want in the game? What features do you like? What match types? Everything. So they basically surveyed everything.
Oh yeah, I did that survey on Twitter.
Yeah, I did that survey as well. They basically said, okay, what do you want? And they posted the results. So that way they've basically said, we are aware of what these results are. And we're going to make a game in what you're in hopefully what you're doing. They've gotten 2 years for it now, basically. So hopefully they can focus. They've got all this stuff like GM mode that should surely be making a return. Not the AEW mobile game. I'm sure that's going to do great because it's a mobile game, but I don't even want to touch that thing. That's not a GM mode, and I won't ever play that as a GM mode.
No.
What's the point? What is the point of playing that GM mode?
We need a GM mode in console 2K games. Like, give me that motherfucking SmackDown vs. Raw GM mode.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Fire Pro's one was good, and I think at some point we should try tackling that on this channel. That will be an interesting one, but we'll move on from there. 2K's WWE SmackDown vs. Raw, sorry, they mastered it. I don't know why Ukes now. I mean, yeah, Ukes. Why wouldn't they look towards putting that in the console game? I would.
Fuckwits.
They've and on top of that, the style of the game as well. When it comes to looking arcadey, the style of the game almost seems like it's like simulation with a couple of video effects on top.
Yeah.
What's
This AEW now we're back on?
we're kind of dragging back and forth here, but I don't understand how it could go wrong. We've had such a good string from the 90s into the noughts. I don't know where it could have possibly actually gone wrong.
I just think it's the nature of the industry, man. Like, look at other like Tony Hawk is a good analogous series to the SmackDown series, right?
Yeah.
Tony Hawk.
He's just got his little thesaurus here.
Analogous.
Tony Hawk. It just means it's a good parallel between the two examples.
Just say
right?
good parallel then.
Shut your cunt. Right. Tony Hawk, the first few editions of that were really well received. Everybody loved it. They thought that the flow was great. All the same things that people loved about the early SmackDown games. And then over time, it just becomes too much of a task to convince people that they need to buy the next game. And so I think that just, again, causes that shift in priority that leads to the terrible fucking cannibalized state of 2K at the moment. Like,
I just wanted to say that I think where it went wrong is we've pretty much covered it, is that it's become a money grab. It's become a let's get another one out, and let's just keep on making that money every year, because they're just the dumb marks are going to buy it every fucking year, and we don't have to fucking improve things or make things, you know, advance or evolve too much, because they're going to buy it anyway. It's just like their storylines. It's just like their television product. We don't need to try, because those marks are always going to show up every week and watch the show no matter how much shit we put on TV. Even though it's declining in ratings and all that, doesn't seem to faze them at all, because their business isn't really. They're still making money, so why would they want to keep pushing the envelope creatively on television, and why would they push the envelope creatively with their video games if they're still making money? They don't care.
But the thing is, you can prove that point slightly wrong, at least, by the fact that there was a string of video games that they were releasing year after year where it was good. When you look at the SmackDown versus Raws, there was a very good string of wrestling games back to back.
But I think they still cared back then.
And
I would agree.
And that's where it went wrong, because it got to a point where they didn't care anymore, and it became about.
Yeah, no, of course, but I think that mostly comes down to the fact that it was the inclusion of 2K. Because Jack, how good was WWE 13?
I would say 2K14 was a little bit better than 13.
Did you? But again, 2K14 wasn't 2K.
But again, all those PS3 games, or not again, all those games on PS3 weren't 2K except for 2K14, but they're all fucking great. They're all great.
Basically, the last ditch of Ukes before the transition into 2K, which was 2K15.
And then, the 2K in typical 2K fashion.
Butchered.
Well, which one was the one where they had the story mode with Mike Tyson, but they didn't have the rights to Mike Tyson, so it was just an Asian guy?
That was 13, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just don't do the story.
No,
and he was a pre-order bonus too.
No, Okay, I know what you're thinking. Sorry, Carl. So 13 was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was involved.
Yes, but there was another one, right?
2K14, I think, was the Mike Tyson fake. Or was
No,
it?
it would have been 16 because I was about Stone Cold.
Why do it?
Yes, I think it was 16.
Yeah. Pick a different famous Stone Cold storyline to recreate.
2K16. They called him the enforcer in the game.
Oh, fuck off.
And
Okay, so get on Anderson in then, come. Like, you know, give old Marty a paycheck, you know? Like,
Marty, fuck you.
hey Marty, you wanna pay Marty?
Big fan of Marty. Big fan of Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Mr. Lundy.
Oh, what about Ray though? Big fan of Ray.
Oh, I love
big
Ray.
fan of Ray.
God, I miss Ray.
look, what I was
I love Terry.
trying to
Sorry,
say,
Luke.
what I was trying to say in there was that fake Mike Tyson is still a selectable player to this day.
Yeah, you might as well have used Tony, the fucking African American soldier from
Oh, yes.
2007. Like, you might as well have used him if you were just.
Tony was at least still in the video game past his first debut. He was he continued as a security guard.
Oh, sick.
On top of that, so fake Mike Tyson is now a referee in the video game.
Oh, really? Amazing.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, really?
Yeah.
Wow. What referee? Fucking what? 3 or 4 or 5?
The one,
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah.
And he's like, you look like you.
Anyway, this feels like it's gone off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, look. I mean, well, how much time do we have left?
We allocated time.
I thought we did. I thought we had an allocated time frame that we're looking to do this in. We do have a stream to do after all.
Yeah, I'm keen.
7:53. Let's finish off at 8. Hey.
Yeah. We'll,
That's good.
look, I mean, there's a lot to take away from the state of pro wrestling video games at the moment. AEW, I don't think they've hit the mark on this one. It's still early. You can't really judge much off of what I believe is probably not even gameplay footage. That's probably just like whatever SmackDown versus Raw one had that crowd fighting promo. It was like
2007.
2007.
Yeah, and then you couldn't do that shit in the game.
I'm pretty sure the stuff that we've seen in this trailer is not going to be able to in the game. The kind of transitions between reversals and stuff like that, I doubt it. The Sheeta stuff where she was fighting Omega, that looks a little bit more like gameplay. And then at the end of the trailer, they also showed the Meltzer Driver by the Young Bucks, which was they weren't skinned, it was green and red characters.
Meltzer Driver.
Suck holes, man. No wonder.
I think
I think
whether-
the Young Bucks are probably the greatest tag team. That
like the Young Bucks are definitely, it's like the Young Bucks are definitely a better tag team than the Road Warriors, ever were.
they've drawn more money than the Road Warriors. And that Meltzer Driver, my God, Brian, that was probably that's my favorite move in wrestling. Not being biased.
Mine too, Dave. Mine too. No. But I think I was going to say, regardless of whether or not the footage shown in the video was gameplay or not, I think as a representation of what we can expect from that product, the people have spoken. It's not really delivered as far as a trailer that's getting people excited about the direction that it's going in. It's like Fall Guys Season 2 all over again.
Yeah. I don't want to let's not talk about that. Now, I want to quickly pass this on to Carl because I know he's got a very deep-rooted opinion on this and I want to give him his little bit of time.
Okay.
Now, a lot of AEW fans were coming to the defense of this. And I want to quickly, rather than talking about the fans, I wanted to kind of talk about the AEW self-jerk that happened during the press conference. Now, if you guys didn't watch the press conference, you wouldn't have seen it. But Kenny Omega started by discussing how AEW has revolutionized the wrestling business, how they've completely taken over. They've changed the game basically, and they wanted to do the same games. They also mentioned that the best wrestling company has to have the best video game. Now AEW's Twitter account, AEW Games Twitter account, also joined in on the fun, and I will send a link to one of the GIFs that they posted of themselves, of AEW at least. Sorry. So you take a look and you tell me whether or not the clip or the GIF that I send you in the network chat on Facebook as it's going through now. Take a look at that GIF and tell me if that's not a self-jerk on their own, considering the fact that the trailer drop did not go well at all. On top of that, the trailer drop was 45 minutes late, and they also accidentally leaked the fact that they had a casino game, a GM mobile game, and a console game coming out. They leaked
The announcement is fire.
Before we get to Carl, because I know you're going to be bubbling and I want you to bubble for as long as you can, I'm going to get the opinion of Mr. 55 first.
Look, I've said it a million times. I like AEW.
Yep.
But they're making it very fucking hard to like them any longer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
The last 2 months, 3 months even, have just been fucking what the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll speak for my fucking self. I've thought that they've been garbage from day one. So, you know, and I even said in fucking, and it's something I'm going to be discussing on my own channel in the near future. It's like how Jack says that it's really hard to keep liking AEW. I went into AEW wanting to embrace him. I was like, all right, I'm going to be a WWE guy, and now there's going to be a second promotion for me to be hell into and to follow and get.
Yeah, doesn't that premise sound fun?
And
Like, oh wow, there could be 2 companies now. I could be.
Yeah.
Both
that's the thing I don't get about. That's what I don't get about all these AEW diehards that just defend it to death. Like, dude, none of us sit there and intentionally watch something just so that we won't like it, so we can shit on it. Like, and then they keep saying, oh, well, if you don't like it, don't watch then. It's not for you. Fuck you, man. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I know what's fucking good and what's not. 95% of what I've seen, other than like the pay-per-view matches and some of the actual characters, have been garbage, man. Even the people that came from WWE have actually gone down to the indie level rather than elevating these indie cunts up to a Look at Chris Jericho, man. Chris Jericho is a joke and a fat piece of shit.
Ooh.
Fucking John Moxley spent 2 years plus as one of the top paid talents in WWE, making $1 million a year, and was WWE champion like 3 fucking times. He wants to come out on AEW and do a fucking CZW tournament of deathmatch for all of his title defenses. It makes the fucking belt look like a joke. He looks like a joke. It's just garbage. I don't understand why people love it so much. Like,
well, look, I mean, I think the difference in style is what's gotten people interested in it. We don't have much time left. We're meant to end at 8. I really wanted to get the bubbling Karlifornia and Fury to speak about the self-jerk of AEW and his opinion on AEW. If we're going to round this out in any way, I think that'd be a good way to do it.
And we should also round out with an episode of 5 Second Friends with Daniel Johnston.
Shut up. You want to talk about the delusional typical AEW fan? I remember when they first went on television and people were screenshotting comments in these AEW groups, and one guy was complaining like, "Oh man, like, where is it? What's wrong with everyone? I thought we were going to be getting 4 million fans watching every week. Where is everyone? What's going on, man?" Like, they were so delusional. They thought that immediately they were going to bring back everyone that stopped watching wrestling, or everyone that didn't watch WWE anymore because they didn't like what they were fucking giving us. They thought that they were going to bring in millions of people and they were going to be getting more numbers than Monday Night Raw. That's the level of delusional that it is. And it doesn't matter what they do. They could get someone to go out there and fucking squeeze out a little brown steamer in the fucking ring, and the crowd will fucking chant, "This is awesome. Shit forever." You know, it doesn't matter what they fucking do. These shills are going to just fucking eat it up. If Vince Russo wrote a match to happen and it was a Mimosa Mayhem match, they would shit all over it. But because it's AEW, oh no, that's fine.
Or if it was Eric Bischoff, or if it happened in TNA.
Yeah, if it was,
That's a great company, TNA. You shouldn't bag them out.
So like that's like part of my stance on it is that doesn't matter how shit anything is or what they do, it's just fucking the greatest thing in the world to them. And man, this whole fucking business with the VPs and the way that they fucking go on their interviews, Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and fucking Omega, and they just give everything away, and they talk about how, oh, well, year 1 is going to be about the young guys, and year 2 we're going to get back to those. Don't tell us anything. Just let us figure it out by watching your fucking program. Stop telling us everything. We don't need to know everything every fucking second of the fucking day. Let us fucking just wait and see what happens. We don't need to know what your future plans are or what, you know. And Britt Baker goes on there, please watch the women's matches. Please give it a chance. They gave it a chance. They're tuning out because there's not enough talent there. They're shit. They didn't have the right women in the right spots from the get-go.
Yeah, if you fucking tell us what your fucking plans are for the next year or 2 of your storylines, why do I want to watch the show? You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. Why do I want to watch something I already know what's fucking happened, you know? Let your work speak for itself.
The Britt Baker thing was a fucking mess. Why would you beg people to come watch the women's division?
It's just not that though. It's everything. It's like that they've already done all their matches that they needed to like fucking hold off on. So down the road, they've got these matches that they do these feuds that are one and done. One and done. One match and it's over. Cody and Jericho, one and done. Fucking Omega and Jericho, one and done. Fucking, it's just, they don't know how to keep the story going. Like Cody and MJF had this feud that went for months, and they had one match and it was over. And then they're off doing something else now. And it's just like the attention span is just fucking unbelievably short.
I've got to disagree in some points of that, Carl. Only, and you're probably going to agree with my disagreement here. There has been some long-term booking for the short amount of time they have been there. That long-term booking has only really involved key members of the company. So you look at, for instance, obviously Young Bucks and FTR is a long story beyond that. But when you look at stuff like, a good example is Kenny Omega and Hangman Page right now. Well, sorry, as of the last pay-per-view. So they came together as a tag team. They won the tag titles. They went for ages. There was some talks of dissension between Page and the Young Bucks. So all, people high up in the elite, all that kind of shit like that. Kenny Omega, they split after losing the tag titles. The tournament has brought them back to be the top two. The winner gets a title shot. Kenny wins, so now he faces Moxley, which was the old, the death match. All the long-term booking has revolved around the main circle, and including Cody, who has the TNT title that lost. He lost it to Darby Allin, which is that's a mess of a storyline. They did not book that well at all. But all the long-term storylines involved the EVPs or the top guys.
But they've only been around for 13 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and Hangman and Omega have already had their team, already had their run, already had their dissension and broken up already. For me, I just think that's too soon. I don't know. Maybe, but this is an Attitude Era guy where, things moved along quite quickly back then. But I don't know. I just feel like from what I see, other FTR and the Bucks going to have another match. Is that feud going to continue, or is it one match and it's over and then they both go their separate ways again?
They've already had two, but look, I have more I could add, but I know we want to wrap up. So I mean,
but it's just these fans and seeing them all, Omega dressed like he's Steve Jobs. And
don't fucking
like they think they're bringing out a new Apple product or whatever. Like it's a fucking video game.
It's just the entire company is a self-congratulatory wank.
They can't do anything wrong. Like there's always
somebody reported into Jim Cornette the other day, who was a production person on that filming the Sammy Guevara Matt Hardy match from Full Gear. That person the entire time had no clue how any of this was supposed to be related to what they thought of as professional wrestling. It's just like... And then Tony Khan was apparently walking around in a hoodie looking like some fucking idiot talking about how great he thought everything was. And
Well, that
shit.
cunt needs to fucking get off Twitter and stop doing interviews because every time I read something, he says something stupid.
Yeah.
You know, the way that he tweets at CM Punk and all this shit, and he's such a fucking mark. You know, he's a money mark, motherfucker.
Yeah, he is, man.
And Cody Rhodes, as far as I'm concerned, and this is the last point I'm going to make before we sail off into the sunset. For him to go out there and say that the term casual fan makes him sick, and he doesn't want casual fans. He wants to have his little bubble. You're never going to grow your numbers. You're never going to grow your product because you're just catering to a small minority of people. Fuck you. Fucking don't talk shit about Vince Russo, Disco Inferno. Fuck you, cunt. All right? You can't even fucking hold a fucking whatever. I can't be bothered anymore.
All right. Well, look, that was fuck.
Cocksucker. By the way, the original American Nightmare was Dustin Rhodes in 2000 WCW, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the one after that was Brock Freeman from EPW Perth, you fucking cunt.
Yeah, you
Give back our
cocksucker.
gimmick.
Sick. All right. Well, that you wouldn't think it, but that was the state of video games on the WZWA Network. I am your boy, the Lord of the Ring, Luke Monet. We've got the host of the most, California in theory, Mr. 55, Jack Wallace, and Juicy Boy, Billy Cheddar Cock.
We will see you next time. Thank you. Good night.
All right.
Take care,
Good night,
guys.
guys. See you guys.
Take care, guys.
See you next time.
All right,
See you
let's
next
hit
time.
the
We'll
road,
see you
guys.
next time with
See you next time.